Today, we're stepping into a true masterpiece of landscape design, a green sanctuary right in the bustling heart of a massive city, the Carlos Thays Botanical Garden in Buenos Aires.
Okay, just think about the incredible energy of a city like Buenos Aires. Now imagine stepping through a set of gates and into this, a 17-acre island of pure calm. It's so much more than a park. It really is a bubble of silence, this vital green lung where nature just beautifully pushes back against the concrete jungle.
So, you have to ask, how did this place even happen? Well, this urban oasis was no accident. Not at all. It was the careful, deliberate creation of a single visionary. And the story of how this living museum became a National Historic Monument, well, it pretty much begins and ends with one man. And that man was Carlos Thays. He was a French-Argentine landscape architect who showed up in Argentina way back in 1889 for a single project. And, well, he's simply never left. He just fell completely in love with the country and spent the rest of his life transforming its cityscapes.
And when I say transform, I'm not kidding. Just look at this number, 1.2 million. That's how many trees Carlos Thays planted in the capital city alone. You see, he didn't just add a few parks here and there. He basically painted the entire city green, giving Buenos Aires that famously lush, leafy character it's known for today.
You know, this quote really gets to the heart of his philosophy. For him, green space wasn't some optional luxury. It was absolutely essential for human happiness. And that belief, that was the seed that grew into his ultimate masterpiece, the botanical garden that he designed and personally ran for decades.
Okay, so let's take a journey through these worlds and see how his vision came to life. Because Thays didn't just create a collection of plants. No, he was designing an experience, a trip through totally different landscape styles, with each one telling its own unique story. Just look at the contrast here. On one side, you had the French garden. It's all perfect symmetry and formality, straight out of the 18th century. But then you just walk a little bit further and bam, you're suddenly in the Roman garden. It's a complete change of pace, meant to feel like an ancient villa, complete with plants that the famous botanist Pliny the Younger would have grown himself.
And it wasn't just about the plants either. Thays was a master at weaving art right into the landscape. We're talking 33 different sculptures, fountains, and monuments scattered all throughout the garden. And they're not just there for decoration. They're designed to be these focal points that make you stop, take a breath, and just soak in the beauty.
Beyond those styled gardens, the collections take you on basically a botanical world tour. The plants are all grouped by where they're from, so you can literally wander from the ancient Ginkgo biloba of Asia over to the towering eucalyptus of Oceania. And, of course, there's this huge, wonderful section dedicated to the incredible native plants of the Americas.
But, you know, maybe the most breathtaking thing in the entire garden isn't a plant at all. It's this absolutely stunning piece of architecture that honestly looks like someone just plucked it right out of 19th century Paris and dropped it in Buenos Aires.
This is it, the Invernaculo numero uno, the garden's main greenhouse. It is a spectacular example of Art Nouveau design. All that graceful, swirling ironwork holding up these huge panes of glass. It's basically a delicate, light-filled crystal palace built just for plants. And the story of how it even got here is just wild. In 1889, it was a star at the famous Paris Universal Exposition. Yep, the very same one where the Eiffel Tower debuted. It even won an award. So they saw it, and in 1897 it was bought, taken apart piece by piece, and shipped all the way to Buenos Aires to be rebuilt right here in his new garden. So, this isn't just some pretty building. It's a priceless piece of architectural history. In fact, experts consider it one of the very last and best preserved Art Nouveau greenhouses of its kind left anywhere in the world. That makes it a true global treasure. But the garden is so much more than a historical artifact or just a collection of pretty plants. What Thays really created was a complex living ecosystem that is still thriving today. It's a sanctuary in every single sense of the word. A perfect example? The butterfly garden. It's a space that was specifically designed with all the right nectar and host plants, everything that butterflies need for food and shelter. And the result is this vibrant, buzzing hub of activity that attracts more than 20 different species, not to mention countless other insects. And that's just one piece of the garden's much bigger job. It actually works as a biocorridor. Think of it as a biological highway that lets urban wildlife move around and thrive. It's a safe haven for native birds, its ponds are teeming with life, and its forest is literally working to clean the city's air. And this whole idea of interconnectedness, well, that brings us to Thays' final, and maybe his greatest legacy.
because his vision wasn't just confined to the walls of his garden. Oh no, it spread across the entire nation. Thays was a huge champion for using Argentina's own beautiful native trees in city planning. So when you see those famous photos of Buenos Aires streets blanketed in the purple flowers of the jacaranda trees, yep, you're looking at the living legacy of Carlos Thays' vision.
But his impact went even further than that. In 1902, he conducted this incredibly detailed survey of the magnificent Iguazu Falls, and his work became the actual foundation for creating Iguazu National Park, preserving one of the world's greatest natural wonders for all time.
And so that brings us back here, to the quiet, tranquil paths of his masterpiece. The Jardín Botánico is more than just a beautiful place. It's living proof that thoughtful design and a deep respect for nature can fundamentally transform our cities, and even our lives.
Which really just leaves us with a final thought. Carlos Thays gifted his city a green legacy that's lasted for over a century. As our own world becomes more and more urban, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What green legacies are we creating right now for the generations of tomorrow?